Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I'm going to be talking about how mountaintop removal is for the rich and not the poor, and how the poor cannot defend themselves against this process. We'll start with a little story. You're in bed, you're sleeping, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and you hear this loud boom, and you look over, and your spouse has just been crushed by a boulder because mountaintop removal uses blasts to destroy the mountains. Now, how would you feel looking over at your loved one, seeing that they just got crushed by a big boulder because of mountaintop removal? Well, the story's not that far-fetched because it actually happened to a 3-year-old in the middle of the night. He was sleeping in his bed, and his parents heard a loud boom, went to his room, he was crushed by a boulder. So the story's not far-fetched at all. Or you can take this story. It's about a beautiful house on a lot of land near a mountaintop removal site. You go out to your land one day, way out, and you find that they've been blowing up your land. You know, sounds like a crazy story, but that ain't far-fetched either, because that's also happening on people's private property. And coal companies have all the access they want to it, unless you're patrolling your land all the time and telling them, no, you can't come on my land to do this. Also, one more story for you. That may seem far-fetched, but it's not. You just got out of the hospital. Your grandma's in there. She has brain cancer. You guys lived in West Virginia your whole life. And your grandma comes down with brain cancer. And you find out she don't have much time to live. She came down with brain cancer because the toxic fumes that are in the air that you're breathing in all the time. Not to mention the water that's being polluted by these mountaintop removals. But now your grandma, being old, living in West Virginia in a impoverished state, has no money to pay for all this surgery that's going to be required and chemo treatments. So now you leave there knowing all this bad stuff's going to happen to your grandma, and you try to go to sleep at your house, you hear a rumble in your house, and you come out to see what the rumble was, and half your house, the foundation has just collapsed, cracked, because of an explosion. Now you hit double whammy because of mountaintop removal. The blast now shaking your foundation out of your house. Your grandma's about to die because of brain cancer, and all this because of mountaintop removal. So these stories aren't far-fetched, and they've actually happened all the time. People find their foundation to their houses cracked. The cancer survival rate in these areas are 13.9%. It's higher in the Appalachia area than it is in any other part of the United States. Now, why is this? Because there's more cancer in the area. Therefore, there's probably going to be more research in the area to fight off this cancer. More cancer equals a higher cancer survival rate because there's not as much cancer going around. You know, there's also birth defects with mountaintop removal. Now, the coal companies, they put it aside. They say because of the area, people are having sex with their relatives and causing birth defects that way. Obviously, is not the case for all of the birth defects. Just throwing that out there. can count for some of it, but all of it, no. But according to Don Blankenship, former CEO of Massey, says mountaintop removal is beneficial to the environment because it flattens mountains, so it makes them straight and flat. They don't gotta build roadways, blow up making tunnels, so it provides more funding for the transportation. And it's less on your brakes, it's less on your tires, so it saves you money. And that is according to the coal company, but Don Blankenship, former CEO, saying this. Now, taking the basic fundamentals of a car, going up a mountain, yes, burns more gas because you're burning more RPMs. Being more rough on your tires, it's kind of hard because the counties should, in fact, be keeping up with their roads. Therefore, the roads shouldn't be that bumpy. Shouldn't be potholes everywhere. So your tires aren't going to be worn out because they're going uphill or downhill. Your brakes, can it affect them? To an extent, yes. When you're going downhill, you're putting more brakes, burning your brakes out. Is it going to be noticeably different? Probably not. So the fact that he says it saves us money by saving us our brake pads, saving us tires, saving us gas. The only real thing it saves us is gas going up the hill for not burning RPMs. But is blowing up a mountain worth a little bit of gas saved? Blowing up Mother Nature? There's a lot of history in the Appalachian area. You have the Battle of Blair Mountain in 1921. And now, we can't even excavate those sites because the coal companies have marked it off where the battle was. So the only thing we have are ammunition shells. And we can't even get into where the actual sites are anymore because they're closed off because of the blast sites. That's part of history of the United States that's going to be left out. And the Battle of Blair Mountain was the second largest conflict in the United States, civilly, right behind the Civil War. So to me, that's a huge deal. You're cutting out our history. Not only is that history cutting out, in 2004, a family went back to go visit their deceased loved ones, just to find a bulldozer crushing over their family cemetery and putting pipelines in. Now, to me, if I went back to go visit my loved ones at their gravesite, I don't want to see a bulldozer being crushed over their gravesite. But I picked that site because of a special reason, sentimental value. Maybe they loved that spot, and now it's being bulldozed by these coal companies. And now, in 2007, a community is being denied access to their local cemeteries because they're near blasting sites. So now you have multiple cemeteries with multiple family histories, which is a personal problem. Personal. Now you're getting down deep inside someone's heart. You're already affecting them health-wise by polluting the air, polluting their water. Now you're going to attack them mentally. Not only physically, but mentally. And people don't have money to just pick up their deceased loved ones out of the grave and move them to another grave site, because the company doesn't really care that they're running over them. But to the loved ones, they do care. They don't have the privilege of just picking up their families and moving them away. They don't have the power, authority figure, or the voice to attack these coal companies and say what they're doing wrong. Most of them in the Appalachia area is an impoverished area, so they don't have access to all these government agencies. They don't have access to college to advance their knowledge, advance their speech, to writing skills, writing speeches, doing speeches. They don't have these communication specialties. They go to high school and most of them finish. A lot of them work in the mines. Now their jobs are being taken away by machinery, and there's nothing that they can do because the coal companies are just going to keep replacing them with machines, which they say is going to create more jobs. But we haven't seen that. We've actually seen a decline in jobs for miners. And it's about 50% decline. So, you can look back here on my notes here. Mountaintop removal produces coal with 10 to 25% less expense than the miners. But is it worth it? This is according to a peer review, though the mountains may fall. It's an article from the U.S. Catholic, April 2012, volume 77, issue 4. But it's a peer review. It takes a lot to get published to a peer review. A lot of accreditations. And now they're talking about 10 to 25% less expense than underground mining. But, however, if you think that lives are cheap and Mother Nature is cheap, then you're golden. But if you're thinking that way, then you have no, heart inside is the best way to say it. We're supposed to be united. We're supposed to be a country. We're founded on a brotherhood on this country. We fought against the British, each other, because they killed 5 of our Americans. We're supposed to be banded together, stick together at all times, and now we're pushing people away because it's cheaper. I don't understand it. Mountaintop removal can be stopped. What would the future hold for the Appalachian area? You have miners going back to work, making the money. We'd be spending more of the money in the economy. It's not a big, huge boost in our economy, but it's something to get us started. Everything starts small somewhere. And this is where taking away the mountaintop removal comes. It only produces 5% of our nation's coal. So is 5% actually worth it? I don't think so. Maybe you guys think so. But 5%, now you got 95% coal coming from deep underground mining, producing our energy. Those are people hard at work, underground, not making much, putting their lives, 'cause that's the only thing they can do. They can't get out of their impoverished area. They don't have the money to do that. They don't have the money to go to college. They don't have the money just to pick up and move to another state. They don't know how to talk to the government. They were never taught how to communicate. So how do you expect a whole environment to take on the government and these coal companies who have millions of dollars, not billions? And they pay these lobbyists to go talk to the government for them, to get the government on their side. Now, if I went to a government, a Congress guy, a representative, my governor, he wouldn't hold 5 seconds for me. I don't have the money just to go pay, to go have a meeting, play a golf game with these guys. So, that's what they do. And the people, this doesn't work for them. So now, you've heard a whole bunch of facts. You've heard a whole bunch of how the Appalachian people, they don't have money, they don't have privileges, they're way under the social scale. So, It's your decision in the end on what you take. But to me, after doing research for almost a year now, I feel that mountaintop removal is more detrimental than it is beneficial. Just look at the facts. Cancer rates are higher. I mean, you got cancer survival rates higher here, yeah, but that's because cancer rates are higher. You have pollutant in the water. You have mountains being destroyed that will never grow back to the same. Only thousands and thousands of years and plates moving will they grow back to be the same. So now you're destroying Mother Nature. And the history. There's so much history in the Appalachian area. George Washington lived in Virginia and traveled to the Appalachian area. So I mean, there's so much history here, and they don't even take it serious. It's like the coal companies just don't care about the people here. So on that note, next time you see a mountain in the area, take pictures of it. Remember it. And if anything, spread the word about this. How horrible this is, really. Do some research yourself. You know? So in closing, I'd like to say, thank you guys for coming today. Thank you for listening to my speech.